So we're with my friend Debra Simmons, and she is a beekeeper. And so Debra, tell us a little bit about why you love beekeeping.
I love beekeeping for the bees. I got into it because I was fascinated by how they function, how the hive works, how each member has their own little job and they all do it, and it's very therapeutic to watch. If you have a tough day or something, you can go out and just sit and stare at them coming in and out of the hive, and it's just wonderful.
So it's springtime right now, so what is going on in the hive at the moment?
Well, at the moment, the queen has just been installed about 3 weeks ago. They came from California, so they also had a climate change that they had to get used to. And they are going in with frames that had some wax already built out, but they're cleaning, they're reorganizing, similar to if you moved into a brand new house and everything was in boxes. They have to take everything out of the boxes and find its place. So right now that's what they're doing, and then they're building up with eggs and larvae and trying to build their population, and they're also bringing in food because they came with nothing.
So what do you do to prepare to work in the hive and with the bees?
So in the spring, we start with this 3-pound box that we've been given, which has about 15,000 bees in it. And we have to provide them the house and the mechanism for them to lay eggs and larvae and build up their numbers, because they have to get to about 60,000 before they will give us any honey. So we take this box of bees and we install it into the Langstroth hives, which are the square ones, and they have frames in there and foundation, which gives them a platform to be able to build off of. And then I go and put a suit on, because bees sting and they don't ever know you. They are never your friend. And so you have to work with them and respect their need to protect their home. We take a smoker and we fill it with pine straw and get it going so that we can smoke the bees and give them a second or two to think that their hive is on fire. And with that, they then gather nectar and pollen, because they are going to have to make an emergency exit, which gives them that nice full Thanksgiving feeling. It makes them tired and more lethargic and not quite as easily angered.
Okay, and with that, it's time to suit up. So what's the first step here now that we're approaching the hive?
First step is to give the bees some puffs of smoke. You can do that in a variety of ways, but we usually do the front entrance and the upper entrance. And then we slowly take everything off. We're going to use this as a lid, so when we set this box down, we'll put it crossways on here, not to crush any of the bees. This is the inner cover and the upper entrance. And we're going to then separate the boxes, pick them up. And this is where the main activity was going on yesterday. This is Jim, and he does not wear gloves when he is working with the honeybees. It is a personal preference. He also doesn't have a full suit on, but he does not have the same issues with the venom from the bees as, say, I do, who has an allergic reaction. So he does not mind being stung. The eggs are normally laid in a rainbow type pattern in the center of the frame, and then the outside edges are either filled with honey or filled with your pollens and stuff that have been brought in. It's called bee bread. And that is very important for feeding the new bees. This little guy here, which is whiter, he is one that has just hatched out. He's a newbie. Right here we have capped larvae, and because of the coloration of the capping, we know that they are getting ready to emerge. You will find larvae, the white, right in this area. It's not quite ready to be capped over yet, so they're still being fed by the nurse bees. And then on the outside edges, you have your pollens, and they will be different colors depending on where they came from, and some honey. on the very periphery. You can see the pollen on the back of this guy's legs. It's more of a yellow color. They've been bringing in a bright orange also. The worker bees are all females that cannot reproduce. So they're fed the royal jelly for a shorter period of time. So with the royal jelly, the worker bee's egg that has been decided to be the new queen will be fed royal jelly the entire gestation time. And that allows her to be able to breed later on in life. The worker bees cannot do that. They are the ones who do all the major work and nursing in the hive, and then eventually are the field bees, which you see coming in, that gather the pollen and the nectar and bring back. They have different stages of life. Once they hatch, they become nurse bees. They have 5 glands underneath their jaw that secrete the royal jelly, and they go around and just feed the babies. Then they become house bees. And at that point, they make the wax, which is from 5 slits on either side of their abdomen. And they then form the cells, they clean, they accept the nectar and pollen from the field bees and put it into the cells. It's just housekeeping. And then their final stage, when they are ready, is to go out and be the field bee and to actually gather the nectar and pollen. They then bring them back into the hive and are met at the door by a worker bee that is not at that stage yet, and they deposit into a honey stomach the nectars that they have gathered. The pollens they actually bring in and they place them in cells. The worker bee that is the house bee at this time then goes and places the nectar in a cell, and it is then fanned and prepared to be sealed for honey. They keep working with it until it is the right moisture content. The best year we've ever had, I got 768 pounds of honey. Last year, I got probably 130. So it all depends on the water content of the year. A flower can still be a flower and not have any nectar that's available to the bees. So if a summer is really dry, then the bees can fly out to the flowers, but they don't have the ability to bring back pollen and nectar because the flowers themselves dry up. A bee in its lifetime, which is only about 6 weeks in the summer, collects 1/12 of a teaspoon of honey. So anytime you drip honey on a counter, that's pretty much a whole bee's life's work. There's the queen right over there. She is right now going around the cleaned cells that the house bees have done, or the worker bees that are in that stage of their life. And the red dot is simply for identification purposes. Obviously, she looks different than the other ones, but when you get into full swing with 30,000 bees in the hive, it's very difficult sometimes to find her. So we mark her with a dot. The queen will then go around and she will lay between 1,500 and 2,000 eggs a day. That is her sole purpose in life. She doesn't feed herself. She does nothing else but lay eggs.
Now tell me, you mentioned that it's very therapeutic for you to come out here and watch the bees. Tell me, how do you sort of reflect and connect with God when you're out here with your bees?
I think because of the fact that with the honeybees, it's just amazing how it all interacts, how they interact within themselves, how they care for everything, I don't know how anyone could not believe in a creator when watching a system like this exist. And it's calming because it's just, they all go in, they all go out, there's no fighting. Everybody just does what they're supposed to do at their particular time.